I was introduced as a former NFL football player. I'm sure there's a number of you right now looking at me thinking, there's no way in the world that guy played professional football. I've been knocked out 5 times, dislocated my jaw 3 times, separated my shoulder. I've broken my ribs, my thumb, my nose, my wrist, and my ankle. But it was fun, had a great time. I loved it. Connecting and engaging with an audience is critical. Stories have power. They capture the mind and the heart. And long after I'm gone, people can remember a powerful story. That's why when I speak, I aim for the heart, where real power is unleashed, where real change takes place. The biggest mistake I find in working with organizations is this third part. We make it an intellectual exercise. We fail to engage the heart. We speak to the head, we're educated, but we fail to really touch the heart. Whether you want to be the world's greatest bank, the most compassionate hospital, the most service-oriented hotel, feelings are more influential than thought when it comes to affecting change and driving performance. I want the audience to write their story. I want that individual in his or her seat to write their own story. It builds this sense of something great. It builds this determination to move forward, that we can get it right this time, that we can make it happen. And that's how we win and lead change in a constantly changing world. People want to be called to something bigger than themselves. People want to be inspired to something. People want to have skin in the game. They want to be part of some process. They want to be part of a team. They want to be led somewhere. Your job of owners of your business is to do just that. Your job is to lead people.
Please help me welcome Tom Flick.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 long days. I'm the closing stretch here. You've had a great time, I understand. I appreciate the invitation. And by the way, this is the 7th time I've had a chance to address Hyatt. I did the GMs and the Kickstart. I get to finish with you folks and awards ceremony tonight. So I'm looking forward to having a chance to chat with you. Kevin, that was an excellent job. I could leave right now. That was fantastic, don't you think? Before I begin, I want to clear up a disconnection that typically happens when I get introduced. There's a number of you probably looking at me right now thinking, there's no way in the world that guy played professional football. I get that a lot. People think I look like an accountant or something. I was flying recently to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. I was sitting next to a businesswoman, and we kind of engaged in a conversation. She asked what I did. And I told her about my corporate work, and I think she found that kind of interesting. And then she said, well, Tom, have you done this your whole career? And I said, no. You know, before this, I was a football player. She said, oh, really? High school? I said, yeah, I played in high school, also college, and in the NFL right away. Big smile. She goes, you must have been a kicker. Which I don't appreciate at all. And I'll tell you why. I've been knocked out 5 times. I've dislocated my jaw 3 times. I've separated my shoulder. I've broken my ribs, my thumb, my nose, my wrist, and my ankle. But it was fun. I had a great time. I loved it. I just loved it. And by the way, I just don't want to clear anything up. I played 7 years. I played on 5 teams in 7 years. I like to think that I played on the teams that made it possible for all the other teams to go to the Super Bowl. So I didn't play on great teams, but what I want to do, if I can, I want to just kind of add to what Kevin said. I've come a long distance from Seattle, Washington. I'm honored to be with you. I love the Hyatt brand. I've been sitting in meetings, having a chance to meet many of you, so I'm thrilled to be with you. Let me tell you why I've come. I've come to serve you, truly. I'm not here to make you do anything. What I want to do is I want to do something for you, and I'm going to ask you to do something right now. For me, if you would you grab the notepads and pens that are on your table? I don't want you to write copious notes. There's so many things you've learned. It's the end of a long 3 days. I do want you to write something that's struck your heart. All good things will start from the inside. They'll work their way out in goals and aspirations and action plans and strategies and those types of things. So please, jot something down that strikes your heart. A little awareness piece before I begin, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to just look up on the screen here, I'm going to share a few things that are going to be kind of golden threads throughout the talk, things that kind of set up what I'm going to say. Hopefully it'll make more sense if you know what's kind of coming. So first is that leadership is the name of the game. Unequivocally, Leadership is the name of the game. If you're going to achieve your mission of caring for others so they can be the best, it's all about leadership. It just is. I'm not saying leadership is better than management or a substitute for it. I'm not saying the title of leadership. I'm talking about the actions and behaviors of leadership. Okay, we're overmanaged and underled by a factor of 4 to 1. We've got to balance the teeter-totter out. I'll explain more how we do that. Secondly is the speed of the leader determines the rate of the pack. How fast do you move? How fast your teams move? How fast your people at Hyatt move to bring those customer experiences, to grab a client that would be a long-term client because you've wowed them with your customer experience. We got to move fast. And windows of opportunity open and close quickly, so if we don't have speed, we lose that out to competition. Thirdly, the biggest mistake I find in working with organizations is this third part. We make it an intellectual exercise. We fail to engage the heart. We speak to the head, we're educated, but we fail to really touch the heart. Whether you want to be the world's greatest bank, the most compassionate hospital, the most service-oriented hotel, feelings are more influential than thought when it comes to affecting change and driving performance. And then lastly is this simple fact that selling is an act of leadership. It could be the ultimate act of leadership because it's not about you when you do it well, it's about other people. It's about the care and purpose and compassion and authenticity, and we'll talk about all those types of things. But first, let me ask you some questions. What motivates you? Seriously, I mean, what trigger do you pull that motivates you? I'm not talking you're cruising through the neighborhood, you got your iTunes on, it's sunny outside, you feel motivated. No, I'm talking about something's gone awry, you got to move quickly, you've got sidetracked, you're not thinking about the main things. How do you get yourself back on track and motivate yourself? That's a legitimate question, and if you're taking notes, you might want to consider writing it down. Here's another one. What's the picture of your future? Can you articulate it in such a fashion and with such compelling words? It creates such an image in the brain that people say, you know what, living here, is a lot more valuable than staying put. Can you communicate that? Here's another one. How do you focus your energy? How do you focus your team's energy? The job of an NFL quarterback is really focusing the energy of 10 men. You've got a big left tackle, you see. He got laid out of his stance. The big defensive end swept around him and sacked the quarterback. You hand off to a running back. He goes up in the hole. He misses his read and gets stuffed. The receiver drops the pass. Or you as a QB sail the ball over someone who's wide open, and 10 men get back inside this huddle, and they're black, and they're white. And they come from different socioeconomic backgrounds and belief systems and experiences. But we wear a uniform, you see. We're all from the same team. And they're waiting for something to happen. They're waiting for a leader to step into the huddle and focus the energy of 10 men for only one purpose. You know what it is? Here we go again. It's to win that next play. That's it. It's to win the next play. The kicker of all the questions that I could pose this afternoon, here it is. What is it that you do? Great question, right? What is it that you do? I have a lot of people that answer typically like this. Hey, what do you do? Well, Mr. Flick, I'm a barista at Starbucks. Hey, I love Starbucks. Love the third place concept. Tell me, what do you do for Starbucks? Mr. Flick, I just told you I'm a barista at Starbucks. So what typically happens in most corporate American companies is simply this. We know who writes our checks. We know the title of our job description, and we kind of live in that, and that's kind of where we stay, and that's where we think we're flourishing. But that's not leadership. Let me share something with you that's so important. It's this leadership versus management distinction and why it's increasingly important. And by the way, this is the actions and behaviors of these words, not the title position. So first of all, your brain, my brain, the default setting in your brain is management. Management is budgeting, staffing, controlling, planning, smart problem solving. Henry Ford did us an amazing favor by perfecting management. It's an amazing set of actions and behaviors that has given us the modern day corporation. Go back a century in time. Tell people what you can do on the supply side, the products and services you can make with such high quality, how you can ship it anywhere around the world, the people that you can service. They'd say that can't be done. Well, it can because of management. It's an amazing set of actions and behaviors. The problem with management is simply this. We're overmanaged and underled, and the problem is that management doesn't move us forward. It can't. That's not its job. Management is taking complexity and making something simple or repeatable. That's what management does. And it works beautifully, but it doesn't move us forward. We'll never achieve the mission and the purpose that you have in front of you of taking care of people so they can be their best, ever through management completely. We need to level the teeter-totter out. Leadership is wholly different. Well, what's leadership? Well, leadership is vision and strategy. It's communicating vision and strategy. It's motivating action. It's getting buy-in. It's removing barriers. It's taking complex systems and people and creating innovation and opportunities and growth. Let me say something about leadership. Here we go. It's not mysterious or mystical. It has nothing to do with charisma or some exotic personality trait. Leadership is not better than management, nor a substitute for it. But in order to move faster than the competition, we need to lead. And the best way to do that is this, is taking leadership from the top, right here, and driving it down through your organization so everyone can lead. That's the key. We need to win with leadership in the middle. That's the answer. In my great city of Seattle, Washington, an amazing thing happened 12 years ago. 9 kids line up at the 100-yard dash to run a race. All of these kids are physically and mentally disabled. They're not going to run very fast. I just don't see how they can. It's the Seattle Special Olympics. They're all challenged, but I will tell you this. They're going to run with a relish to win. Because West Seattle Stadium is packed full of all the people that love them. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, grandparents, neighbors, and friends. The place it's electric. And the kids get to the blocks all excitedly. They get settled and situated in the blocks, and all of a sudden the gun sounds, and they burst out of the blocks and begin to sprint. But one little boy, he tumbles and falls and skins a knee, and he skins an elbow. And he begins to cry. The other runners are running down the track, and they hear him cry, so they all then begin to slow down. And then they all stopped. And then they all looked back. And then they all went back. It's the longest timed 100-yard dash in Special Olympic history. Seriously. It's an official race. No officials come onto the track. They're watching 8 kids go back to the starting blocks. And they get to this boy, and they find leading them is a Down syndrome girl. And she bends down, and she kisses the little boy on top of the head. And they hear her say the words, "This will make it better." And they pick him up and dry his eyes and calm him down and dust him off. Then what they did is they got back in their lanes. And they all got situated, and then they all locked their arms together, and then they all walked down the track together. They all crossed the finish line together to a standing ovation, not too many dry eyes. And I love telling the story. I love telling it, and you probably enjoy hearing it. Why? Because winning is great. Winning is great. But there's actually something much better than that I've come to understand. It's helping other people to win. Your job in your role as a sales leader for your hotels is to help other people to win. The people on your teams, the customers and guests that you serve, in such a fashion that when they walk away from you, they say, "I just won because I stayed with you, or I work with you." Thank you for listening to me. God bless and be safe, everybody. So long. Thank you. Thank you.